So today's topic, how to have a successful long-term career in the final expense business. I chose this topic because I'm speaking next week in an event down in Nashville. It's a final expense boot camp, I guess they're calling it. I was asked to speak at this event, and this is my topic. So I wanted to just kind of do a brief run through of what I'm going to be going through next week. So I wanted to really kind of tell you guys a little bit about me and where I come from in the business. Uh, I have been in this business now for 17 years. My first year, and I started when I was 21 years old. So, I'll be honest, when I was 21 years old, this business, it wasn't the most important thing. It wasn't the main thing on my mind. I mean, I went out there and worked, but I worked to get by, really. I mean, I worked to get by, and I like to enjoy life and go out with friends and have a good time and things like that. Where when I was 21, I mean, I just work wasn't like my number one priority at that point. And but what happened was, as time went on, I realized that I needed to buckle down a little bit. My dad is actually in the business, and and that's actually the reason, really, why I got in the business. My dad, growing up, I mean, my mom stayed at home. She took care of me and my sister, and he was out working. He was out working hard to support our family, and that was kind of how he wanted it. He didn't want my mom to have to go out and work. He wanted her to be able to just take care of us, make sure that we were able to get to where we needed to be at certain times, different school activities and things like that. Honestly, I mean, I think that's a full-time job in itself. So so that was just kind of how it was. I saw my dad being pretty successful in the business. I mean, he was always a top producer as well. I mean, he went out there and he worked hard. And I went to junior college for 2 years. And then I honestly, at first, I was going to get into law. I wanted to be a lawyer. I worked at a law office for, I'd say, about maybe 3 years. And so I was getting mentored by different attorneys, learning that business. And I was going to go to junior college for a couple of years and then transfer, then go to law school. And it just, honestly, I just kind of got tired of school. I got tired of school. I was ready to start working. And like I said, I knew my dad was in the business. He was successful. I didn't really know the first thing about the business. But all I knew about it was that my dad was successful at it. And I figured, if he's good at it, well, why don't I check it out and see what I can do? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I can always go back to school. And I'd have to say it's worked out pretty well. But there were some bumps along the road. I mean, not every day is a good day. And I think that's one thing a lot of people have to remember. I mean, I'll go out and I'll train people, and I'll have maybe the best 2 days I've had in a long time. We'll write a ton of business. And sometimes, as well as good as I feel having a good day like that, I know that sometimes it sets up expectations right off the bat that might be a little bit too high for an agent, because not every day is going to be that way. I mean, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. I mean, I remember really hitting rock bottom at one point. I was probably maybe 22, 23 years old. I was totally overfinanced on leads. I didn't have money to purchase any more leads. And I remember that I was falling behind on bills. Remember, like I said, I mean, back then, I mean, work wasn't like my top priority. I was falling behind on bills. I remember one day my phone was about to get turned off, 22, 23 years old. And I went into my dad's office and I told him, I said, hey, I'm kind of going through a tough time right now. And I am about to have my phone turned off. And my dad gave me money. He said, here you go, pay your phone bill. And that was the last time that I ever asked anybody for financial help in this business, or to at least help me continue in this business. From there, I knew I had to do whatever it took to succeed, but I never wanted to hit that point again. And then from there, I mean, I started to take this job much more seriously. I saw the value in this business, what we were doing to help others, and how important it is, and what this business really means, what these policies really mean to our policyholders. I mean, $10,000 to our policyholders is a lot of money. So I really started to see the value in the business from that point. But like I said, I never wanted to ask for help again financially. I still, at that point, I didn't have money for leads. You know what I did? I picked out neighborhoods and I just started knocking on doors. I knew that all it would take would be one sale or two sales to get out of where I was at financially. All it would take was one or two sales. From there, I'd earn some commissions. I'd be able to purchase some leads, and I started to do a lot of the little extras, doing a lot more, and just like I said, whatever it takes to succeed. Because I never wanted to be at that point having to ask someone for money to pay a phone bill ever again. So, but from there, like I said, I really learned. Meeting my wife too really helped. That's going on about 10 years now. We met back in 2010, really started to take things a lot more seriously then. I mean, before then I was good. I mean, I was a top producer, but even from there, I mean, I've kind of taken it even a little bit, another step ahead, I guess you could say. I mean, I have 4 kids now. I have a family to support, and I really do take this seriously. But I love what I do as well. So, but I wanted to just kind of go over with you guys just some things that I think can help you to have a long-term career in this business. Okay, and I mentioned on here to make final expense your main focus. And that's if you want to have a long-term career in the final expense business. I know there's people out there that maybe they treat final expense as just a product. It's something that they're able to offer to their clients. And that's fine. But I've learned that I can focus on one thing. I can focus on final expense. I don't need to be writing Medicare supplements. I don't need to be writing term policies. I don't need to write health insurance or annuities. If I can focus on one thing, I become an expert by focusing on one thing. And when you have enough leads, things like that, you really don't need to have all these other things. You don't need to be writing 5, 6 different products. I've been successful just focusing on one thing. So I know that you can too, if you want to. And get rid of the ego. That's a big one. Be willing to get rid of the ego and willing to learn from those that are better than you. I know how salespeople are. I mean, a lot of salespeople have egos. One example, I mean, I've been doing a lot of these telesales trainings lately. I've been working with agents who maybe were very successful out in the field. And just because you're successful out in the field, it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful over the phone. But because a lot of these agents I've worked with have been so successful out in the field, they do have big egos. They're very confident in themselves, and that's not a bad quality. But sometimes you got to realize that telesales is different than field sales, and sometimes you have to be willing to take constructive criticism. And it's funny because one of the agents that I've been talking to lately, who's kind of making that transition to telesales, I had to kind of have that conversation with him. And because I would try to provide him with some constructive criticism, and it was almost like he was insulted. Like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need anybody telling me what to do and this and that. But what happened was he continued to struggle. He continued to struggle over the phone. He finally realized, I think he finally just realized that it was a little bit different than selling out in the field. And now he's calling me and he's telling me, you know what, go back and listen to some of the recordings of my phone calls. And I want you to help me and kind of show me where I need to work in different areas of my presentation. I'm still not closing a lot of them, and I need some help. So I just think that sometimes you need to get rid of the ego and you need to learn from people that are better than you. I mean, I'm always willing to learn from people. This conference that I'm going to next this coming Friday, a week from today, there's going to be some telesales people there that are really good in the business. I can't wait to get down there and learn from those people, because majority of my career has been about final expense out in the field. So I have learned telesales and I have gotten pretty good at it, but I know that I still have a lot of room to be able to get better. So I don't have an ego. I'm willing to learn from people that I know are better than me at it. When I decided that I wanted to start building an agency, I drove out to Ohio to learn from somebody that had an agency that was doing over $1 million a month in premium. This person was way better than me, but I knew that if he could do it, why couldn't I? So again, be willing to learn from those that are better than you in all aspects, and have a business plan. Understand that final expense is a little bit different market than other markets out there, and be able to adapt in changing your work habits. Now, what I mean by this, I've had a lot of agents in the past that maybe are good in maybe they do Medicare supplements as like their primary business. A lot of different products. A lot of guys I know, they have like maybe Monday they'll set as like their office day where they're going to set up their week, where Monday is their day where they're on their phone all day, they're going through their leads and they're setting up appointments for the whole week. And that might work when you're selling Medicare supplements or maybe annuities, whatever. All I know is it doesn't work in final expense. If I'm spending my day on Monday and I'm setting up appointments for the whole week, maybe my Tuesday appointments will be there. Maybe half of my Wednesday appointments will be there. Thursday and Fridays aren't going to be there. They're going to forget. I don't know what it is, but that's just how it is. I mean, I've learned that from doing this a long time. Me personally, I don't even set up appointments. I take the leads, I put a route together, and I go straight to the door. Excuse me. I kind of feel like the amount of time that I could spend on the phone, I very well could be just setting up appointments for people who are not going to be home when I get there. So if you work this right and you work leads correctly, you're going to have enough people to see in one area that it's not a problem to just take the leads and go out there and see the people without setting appointments ahead of time. If you're somebody that can't get out of bed or can't leave your house unless you have an appointment set, well, then set up an appointment. At least set up one appointment to get you out in the field. But after that, you really don't need appointments. You can take the leads and, like I said, put a route together, go straight to the door. So that may, you may have to change your work habits a little bit, maybe get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and have a marketing budget and be disciplined with it. I recommend that every time you receive a commission to transfer 20% of those commissions into a separate bank account. I would call it your leads account. This is the sort of business. You got to get over the fact that it takes money to make money. That's just how it is. You might tell me all day that, oh, you have this great warm market. Well, warm markets are going to cool off sooner or later. I think in final expense that leads are the name of the game, and anything over and above that, look at as an added bonus. If you're getting referrals, that's an added bonus. Focus on leads, having a budget, making sure, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, making sure that you're consistently working leads and ordering leads consistently. And plan to live on half of what you earn. That might sound like a lot to you, but you got to remember, you got to put money back into the business. Now, what else is this? This is a 1099 contract. We're not paying salaries. 1099 contract. So that 1099 is not, you're not getting taxed. So you have to put money away for taxes. So that's why I recommend to plan to live on half. I transfer 20% of every commission into a marketing account for leads. I transfer 30% into a tax account. Maybe you don't have to transfer 30% right away, but maybe at least 20%. You're better off to have more put away in a tax account than not enough, because you don't want to get hit at tax time with a big bill. It's not fun. It's happened to me in the past. So I've learned from that, and I've learned that it's very important to be disciplined and put money away, set money aside, not just for leads, but for taxes as well. And order leads every week. Don't take a week off from ordering leads. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling out in the field or you're selling over the phone. You have to have activity. And how do we create activity? By purchasing leads and contacting people who have expressed interest in what we want to sell. And so it's important to order leads every week. And that's how you can have a successful long-term career in the business, by ordering leads every week. It's going to get to the point where you're going to wish that there's more hours in the day. Take advantage of the lead credit that you can earn with us. That lead credit makes it a lot easier to be able to consistently order leads every week. It's cutting the cost in half. Not only that, I mean, you could always order more leads. I mean, if you're on a budget, say $450 a week, that's what you want to spend for leads. Well, remember, writing that business with us, you can still spend that $450, but that's going to get you twice as many leads. So it's going to create that much more activity. And I don't think you can ever have too many leads. You really can. And work geographically smart. So if you're working out in the field and you're working direct mail leads, order those leads by zip code. All right. And then after you place that lead order, the next week, place the following lead order, maybe in the next town over, or at least the next zip code over. I mean, look at like Chicago, for instance. Again, I live right outside of Chicago. There's so many zip codes in Chicago. Like, I could choose one zip code. The next week, there's one right next to it. And then the next week, there's one right next to it. So work geographically smart. And then that way, when you go out there to run leads, everything is still going to remain very close together. It's not going to take you a long time to catch up with people. And again, like I said, when I just take those leads and I go straight to the door, well, makes it a lot easier when everything is very close together. When I can order those leads by zip code, I choose one zip, I have 20 leads, and those leads are 2 minutes apart from one another. So it really does make it a lot easier to, you get the most out of your time, I guess you could say, where you're not driving all over the globe trying to catch up with people. And have some structure. Know what your day is going to look like. Even if you're not setting appointments, you have leads. It's not a bad idea to maybe put your route together the night before. So that way, all you need to do when you wake up in the morning, you get ready, eat breakfast. You already have your route put together. So all you got to do is pull out your GPS, hit start, and there you go. Now you're off for your day, off for the day, and plan on spending the whole day out in the field. Also, use a presentation. I have a presentation that's worked well for me for years. It's on my training website. Download it, learn it. And the in-home presentation, mean, there's a PDF that you can scroll through with the client. You can print it out, you can put it in a binder, you can load it on a tablet. But learn a presentation. Don't just wing it. It makes a huge difference. Uh, Telesales, it's so easy to use a presentation. You're on the phone. You can read through a script. You don't even have to have it memorized. I mean, I think it's good to get to the point where it's fluent. It doesn't sound like you're just reading something, because I think that could bore somebody, put them to sleep. But at least by having that structure, it makes a big difference. And know the product, know the underwriting. Uh, yes, I am here, and you can call me when you have questions. But you know what? You want to know the product. You want to know the underwriting. You want to know how to calculate a premium. You lose credibility with a client if you have to say, hold on, let me call my manager. Okay. Right away, they're like, well, does this person really know what they're doing? So yeah, I'm here I'll help you save a sale. I don't want you to have to walk out without a sale, but you need to know this. You need to know the product, the underwriting. Spend some time to learn it, become an expert at it. But again, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Don't delay getting out of the field because you have to learn the product or the underwriting. You'll learn it by going out there and seeing people and having to use the medication guide and going through the medications. It's so funny. Like, I've been doing this for so long. My brother-in-law is a doctor, and we quiz each other back and forth on medications. Like I'll ask him about certain meds and see if he knows them, and we go back and forth with it. It's just because I've been doing it so long. But you'll get to that point. But yeah, I mean, you don't, like I said, don't waste time at home trying to learn this, preventing you from getting out in the field. Learn it by going out there and seeing people, and you'll learn from your mistakes. So much of this business I have learned just from failing. I mean, I mentioned my dad's in the business. I could count on one hand in 17 years how many times we've gone out in the field together. Uh, I had a regional director in my prior company also that took me out. You know how many times he took me out? One time. That's it. I mean, majority of this business I learned from just going out and learning it and figuring out what works, figuring out what doesn't. Uh, that's how you're going to learn, really. I mean, you'll learn from me. I can help you, but you're going to learn a lot just from trial and error, going out and doing it. And get used to getting rejected. Uh, I like to be upfront with you about that. Not everybody is going to let you in the house. Not everybody is going to let you go through a presentation over the phone. You're going to get hung up on. You're going to get door slammed in your face. It's part of it, but you got to be able to brush them off. And you got to realize that all you're trying to do is help people. And you just kind of have to look at it. If they don't want your help, that's their problem. That's not your problem. Spend your time with people who want you to help them. So you just have to be able to brush off getting rejected and move on. Don't let it ruin your day. I had an agent once who had an appointment at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he called me. It was like 5 o'clock at night, and I asked him how his day went. He said, "Oh, I had an appointment at 3 o'clock. They weren't home, so I just went home. I didn't feel good. I just went home. I didn't feel good, and I didn't feel like the rest of my day was going to go very good." And I told him, you got to be able to brush it off and move on. I told him, I'm like, you had an appointment in an area where you had 20 more leads of people that wanted to see you. And that's kind of the attitude that you have to have. So just get used to getting rejected and be able to brush it off and move on. Now, ask questions too when you're in a home or on the phone. Ask questions. Get the client involved. Listening sells. You don't want to be the one doing all the talking because that can be very boring. But if you get them involved, and the way I do that, I ask questions that they get the client involved, but they remind them of why this product is so important. In my opinion, I think most of my clients have been through it, where a family member might have passed away, they weren't prepared. The whole family had to worry about pitching in to pay for their funeral. So that's like the first thing that I ask about when I'm in a home or even on the phone. So, Mrs. Jones, by sending this card back into us, had you experienced a funeral lately? And right there, I mean, I want to put them back in that mindset. More than likely, they probably had experienced a funeral at some point, and maybe they were affected by it financially. So then I ask more questions. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. Was there insurance involved? Was it enough? Did the family have to pitch in to pay for it? By asking questions like that, we are, for one thing, we're putting them back in that mindset of reminding them of why this is so important, but we're also focusing on the need. And they realize then why they need this, because they're remembering why this is so important. So ask questions, get them involved. Don't just do all the talking. And this kind of bounces right off that last one, like I was talking about. Focus on the need. And that's what we do by asking those kind of questions. We are focusing on the need. And then also focus on affordability. We're dealing with people primarily who are on a fixed income. Most of my clients, they live on Social Security. That's it. They don't have pensions. Some do, but not many. So people are living on $1,200 a month. We can't write them a policy that's $250 a month, because that's not going to stay in the books. We have to focus on the need. We also have to focus on affordability. We want to make sure that they are able to pay this every month and not just the first month. So, and sometimes I even have to talk the client down a little bit. They might say, I want 20,000. How much is it? And I tell them, look, I don't think you really need 20,000. Why don't we start you with 10,000? Make sure that you can afford it. Make sure that you can keep up with it. And then as time goes on, we can always raise it. You can always increase it. And I think my clients appreciate that I talk them down, because they're so used to agents going in there and trying to write them the most expensive policy in the world. And I'm the one talking them down, telling them, look, I'm focusing on you. And I want to make sure that you have this for a long time, so it's there for your family when they need it. So let's start you out with less, and we can always increase it as time goes on. Don't sell based on how much commission you're going to make. I've seen where agents are sitting at the kitchen table and they're calculating premiums, and then they're calculating how much money they're going to make on it. That's not a good way to do this. If you're looking out for yourself more than you're looking out for your client, you're not going to be in this business a very long time. I think clients can definitely see through that. And so always do what is in the best interest of the client. And don't clean sheet applications. That's another way you're just looking out for you and not the client. What I mean by clean sheeting an application is where they may be telling you that they have a lot going on with their health, and you're just going there checking no to all the boxes on the app. Or they might tell you that they're a smoker, but you know that it's cheaper to just put down that they're a non-smoker. Well, you're not looking out for the best interest of the client, because let's just say that maybe they get approved preferred first day coverage, but you know that they told you that they had congestive heart failure, but they might just be taking a medications that could be used for high blood pressure, but it could also be used for congestive heart failure. And you just put down that it's for blood pressure, because you know that the company's probably not going to find out, because it's just a medication that can be used for either. Well, that's fine and dandy. Maybe you got them approved first day coverage. What happens if that person dies in the first 2 years? Every company out there has the right to go back and contest a policy. So you got that person approved first day coverage. They died in 6 months. We're going to contest that policy. We're going to look into medical records. So you earned a commission. Good for you. But you screwed that family, because now that policy, that claim is not going to be paid. That policy is going to be rescinded. So actually, you ended up screwing yourself too, because now with that policy being rescinded, every single premium that was paid in, you're getting charged back. Okay, so you got to look out for the best interest of the client, do things the right way, and assume the sale. I don't ask for a sale in the home. I assume the sale. I assume that that's why I'm there. I'm there because they need this. So when I get to the end, I do put together a few different rates, and then I just simply ask them. I say, I'll let you tell me what's affordable, and they usually tell me, I think the 10,000 would be affordable. The next thing I ask them is who their beneficiary is going to be, and I just continue filling out the application. Majority of my qualification, while I'm qualifying that client, I'm filling out the application. I'm asking the health questions, and I'm filling out the app, and I'm checking the boxes. So, I mean, especially in the home, they can see that. They know what I'm doing. They know that I'm filling out the app. I'm assuming the sale all the way through. If they tell you that they think the 12,000 would be affordable, and then you ask them, you say, okay, so you want to go with the 12,000 then? You know what you just did? You gave them another chance to think about it. And they might sit there again and start thinking about it and thinking, well, boy, I don't know if I can afford that and this and that. And they might come back and say, well, you know what? I just need to think about it now. So sometimes you could talk yourself out of the sale, or you could talk them out of the sale. So, so assume the sale. I don't think you have to ask for a sale. Just assume that that's why you're there, because they need coverage and you're there to help them. And obtain referrals. Referrals are important. Referrals are free leads. So if you're not asking for referrals, I mean, you're walking away from some business, really. So whatever it takes to get referrals, if you need scripts and how to ask for referrals and things like that, ask me. I can get some of that stuff to you. But yeah, referrals are important. They're free leads. I think the best way to handle it is when you're getting referrals is to tell your client while you're there to call the person, get them on the phone, let them know that I'm going to be coming to see them. And that really solidifies the referral and really turns it into a pretty good qualified lead. And stop avoiding your fears, such as door knocking or even having a presentation put together. I mean, I had one agent once that he ordered leads. He ordered like 3 or 4 weeks worth of leads. He was sitting on like 80 leads. And I called him. I'm like, I know you got all those leads. Why haven't you written anything? And he tells me, oh, I just don't have my presentation down yet. Are you kidding me? Like, go out there, work the leads. How are you going to learn a presentation? You're going to learn it by going through it with the client. Your client, your prospect, they don't know the presentation. They don't know if you're screwing it up or not. So, but you're going to learn by going out there and presenting, and you're going to learn from failing. You're going to learn from failing, and you're going to go back to your car and you're going to think about, let's see, why did this not work? What did I do wrong? What could I do next time to maybe make that situation better? That's how you're going to learn. But you're not going to learn from sitting at home and just reading a presentation 20 times until you learn it. Learn by going out there and doing it. And door knocking too, I think, is another fear that a lot of people need to get over. So many people, I mean, I had one agent tell me, well, I don't want to door knock leads because I don't want someone just showing up at my house. And I told him, well, you know what? If you don't go out there and work, you're probably going to get some of these cards in the mail and you're probably going to need this. So you need to go out there and knock on some doors, get out of your comfort zone. If calling and setting up appointments was the best way to do it, that's the way I'd be doing it. But I've tried it so many times. I mean, you set up appointments, half of them aren't going to be home. So you just, again, get over your fears and just go out there and do it. And you got to work at least 40 hours a week when you're going out there in the field or even on the phone. I mean, if you're not on the phone with somebody, you're really not working. So figure out ways to get a hold of people. If you're doing telesales, purchase lists, even if you have to. Scrub lists of names that are not on the do not call list. anytime that you're spending where you're not on the phone or you're not sitting in front of somebody, honestly, it's really not work. Work is when you're sitting in front of somebody that is able to say yes to what you're doing and you're able to make a sale. So, but you got to be willing to put the time in. And if you're going out there and you're putting a route together and you're going out and seeing people, plan on leaving your house at maybe 9 in the morning. And I mean, you really don't want to come home until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I mean, you got to do whatever you can to get in front of the people. There's people that work during the day. The only time you can reach them is at night. You got to work at night sometimes. You got to work on weekends. Do whatever it takes. When you're spending money on leads, you want to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And I mean, I kind of look at it this way. I mean, I live not far from Chicago. I work in some suburbs, in some areas where there's a lot of traffic. If I'm cutting off work at 5 o'clock at night, I'm just going to sit in traffic. So would I rather sit in traffic for 2 hours, or would I rather spend those 2 hours knocking on some more doors and having a few more opportunities to make a sale? I hate going home without a sale. So I mean, I'm not going to cut off at 5 o'clock, especially if I don't have a sale. I mean, my day, I feel so much better when I come home with a sale. And sometimes I know that maybe I don't have it by 5 o'clock, but I know that if I didn't spend those last 2 hours out in the field, I may have cost myself a sale. But like I said, even Saturdays, work Saturdays. Saturdays are good days to catch people that are working during the week that you just can't reach in the evening. And just have more reasons why you should be working and less excuses why you can't be working. And oh man, I've heard so many excuses over the years from agents. I mean, I had an agent tell me, you know what, I can't work because it's below zero out and my car is just not dependable. Well, you know what? When I was 23, 24 years old, I had a car that wasn't very dependable too. And you know what I did? I drove my undependable car to the car rental place for the day. I spent $50 to rent a car that was more dependable. And I went out there and I ran leads. Because am I going to make sales sitting around doing nothing, or am I going to make sales knocking on doors? Well, I think I have a better opportunity, a better chance to make a sale if I'm actually going out there and seeing the people. And again, that was before telesales too, where I had no chance of making a sale over the phone. I had to go out and see people. So, but I mean, seriously, there's so many reasons people will have excuses why they can't work. Sometimes you got to put work ahead of other things. We have to make sacrifices. Maybe there's things that you really wish that you didn't have to miss. Well, sometimes you might just have to, if you want to get ahead, if you want to be successful in this business long term. I recommend to keep up with your business. And what I mean by that, it's great to write the business and get paid those commissions. But what happens if that business falls out the books? Well, then you're getting hit with chargebacks. Then you're getting hit with, losing a lot of renewals. Some agents I've seen will not keep up with their business after it's been on the books for more than a year, because they just don't care if that business lapses, because they're not, at that point, they're really not getting hit with chargebacks and things like that. Well, two things to remember. The client took that policy out for a reason. Half the time, they might not even realize the policy lapsed. And this is something that they need. They're going to appreciate you calling them and letting them know that their business, their policy lapsed. So that you got to do what you can to reinstate those policies, keep that business on the books. It's also going to help with your renewals and being able to build some good renewals, the more business that you keep on the books. So that's very important. Keep up with your business. It's great to write new business, but long-term success, we're talking about being able to build up those renewals to the point where it feels like you have a salary coming in. Each week you get a nice commission check coming in. You might have a pretty bad week of new sales, but by keeping up with that business, you build up those renewals where you have a nice check coming in every week. And just remember that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Like I said, I mean, I've taken agents out and had really good days, and it's like they think that they're just going to go out there and kill it their first day in the field, and they go out there and they just get their teeth kicked in, and they just don't want to do it anymore. And I tell them, look, I mean, you got to stick with this. I mean, I always tell people, I mean, I've been doing it for 17 years now. If it didn't work, I would have found something else to do by now. But it's because I realize it's not a marathon. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. That's what I meant. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I think one of the problems is I think there's a lot of different organizations out there that make this business sound easy. They make it look like you're going to make all this money overnight, and you barely even have to get out of bed to do it. And I'm more of one that just kind of likes to be upfront and tell you like it is. Yeah, you can be very successful in this business, but nothing comes easy. It takes hard work. It takes everything we're talking about here today: consistent lead ordering, putting the time in, getting used to getting rejected and getting over it and being able to get up the next day and do it again. Going out there and knocking on 30 doors and getting 30 doors slammed in your face, or just not catching people at home all day and going home just beat up and being able to get up the next day and do it again. Because you might have a really bad day one day, and the next day, it's happened to me. I go out there and knock on 30 doors, don't get anywhere. I go out the next day and I write 5 applications. So you just got to keep going and going. It's a marathon. It's not 1 mile, it's 26 miles, 26.2. And don't fear failure. Kind of goes right back to, I can't go out on the field because I don't have my presentation ready. You can't fear failure. The good days are going to make up for the bad. And, but work ethic, I would say probably is key. It's number one. I really should probably have this as number one on this slide, but work ethic is key. I can teach you as much as you want to learn. I can spend as much time with you as you want me to. We can go out in the field. We can run leads. You can watch me make sales. That's all fine and dandy. But you know what? If you can't get out of bed and do it, then what good was it? Why waste the time to learn all this stuff if you're just not going to go out there and do it? Bottom line, I mean, work ethic is key. It really is. Putting that time in. And set goals. And set goals. You know, I think you can really set different types of goals. I think that setting personal production goals, financial goals, those are all very important. Figure out how much production you want to do for the year. And then you can break that down. And even if you're a new agent, I mean, I can show you how to make $100,000 in this business your first year. I really can. But I mean, it sounds like a big number, but you got to be able to break those numbers down. So yeah, I want to set an annual goal of $100,000 in commission earned. Okay, well, with that, I need to figure out how much money do I have to make every month to achieve that? How much each week do I have to achieve that? How much do I have to earn on average every day to achieve that? And with that too, I think production, if you focus on premium, that's how you're going to be able to meet the financial goals that you want to set for yourself. And sometimes if you focus on annualized premium, it may be a little bit overwhelming. So the way that I guess could best explain it, if you're setting a production goal, break those numbers down as small as you can. I usually break it down. I think a good goal for a new agent, and you can write this down. I think a good goal for a new agent would be to write 3,000 in premium a week. Okay, now 3,000 in premium a week. Yeah, I thought I had the number right. 3,000 in premium a week is $250 of monthly premium. So 3,000 might sound like a lot. Well, $250 of monthly premium, that might not sound like as hard of a goal to hit. And let's break that down into a daily goal, Monday through Friday. Well, that's all that takes is one $50 a month app. One $50 a month app, Monday through Friday, gets you to 3,000 in premium. So 3,000 in premium. Let's do that for 50 weeks out of the year. That's 150,000 in annualized premium, all by running one single app a day, Monday through Friday. We're not even counting if you're going out and working on Saturday. But I think a good goal would be to focus on that one app a day, Monday through Friday. And if you hit that goal by Friday, take off Saturday. Take off Saturday. You hit your goal. And if you didn't hit that goal by Friday, well, then go out there and do whatever it takes on Saturday to reach that goal. And sorry, these numbers are a little off here. I need to fix that, but be willing to do that little extra. Like I mentioned earlier, what I mean by that, do what other agents may not be willing to do. If you got to get off the phone because the person's not going to give you their information over the phone and you got to drive out and see them, go ahead and do that. I remember one time I had an agent that I had a lead that came in, and the lead was probably about maybe 30 minutes from where this agent was. And this was a hot lead. It just came in, and I told the guy, hey, this person's looking to see an agent. Go out there and see him. And he's like, well, I can't get a hold of her. She's not answering her phone, this and that. I took the lead and I went out there and ran it. It was an hour away from home. And I took the chance. I took the risk of just really hoping that that person was going to be home. It was a Saturday. Went out there, person was home, and I wrote the app and probably made $500 or $600. So you got to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. Be willing to drive 2 hours. Who cares? I mean, who cares even if you order leads 2 hours from home? You could order leads 2 hours from home, and you could have 20 people to see that are all in that one area. So who cares if you got to drive 2 hours if you have 20 people to see that are just a few minutes apart from one another? And don't miss out on the growth potential in this business. What I mean by that, once you do well as a personal producer, why not teach others how to succeed in this business as well? That's when your income can multiply. And I did not really even learn that until maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Like I said, I've been doing this for 17 years. The way I kind of learned the potential in this business was I earned company trips as a personal producer, and I would be on these company conventions, and I met a lot of people. I started talking to people that I knew were successful in the business, and that's where I started meeting people that were earning some pretty substantial incomes. And I asked them, I'm like, how are you earning that kind of money? And they said, well, they said, well, I was a good producer. I wrote a lot of business. I figured if I do well at it, why don't I teach others? And that's kind of how I got into training and mentoring and developing and working with agents. And I love doing it. You know what, as much joy I get out of my own personal production, I love watching other agents succeed. I love it when I get a text from an agent that they're letting me know that they just wrote 1,500 in premium and they're happy. And I mean, I love that. I mean, that's great, you know, and And I love that maybe if I was able to help them get into that situation of being able to succeed. So, but get to the point. I mean, there's a lot of growth potential. I mean, you could earn 100,000 as a personal producer. You could get to the point where you're earning 10 times that once you develop an agency and train and work with agents and train those people to get to the point where they can develop and work with agents. All right. And keep it simple when it comes to the business. Uh, Whether you're writing all of your business with us or not, I mean, I think that I don't really think that you need to be contracted with 20 different final expense companies to be successful in this business. I mean, there's brokers out there who think that you got to be contracted with every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. And to me, I just think that that's confusing. How do you learn underwriting for 20 different companies? Um, I just think that, I mean, yeah, maybe there are people who have been successful doing it that way. To me, I just don't think you need to. I mean, I think that you can learn underwriting for a company, one company, two companies. You don't need 20 different companies out there. Keep it simple. I always have. I've always focused on one product and one company. That's all you need. Maybe, if you feel like you need one more, go ahead, get contract with another company too. But I just don't feel like you need 20 different companies to be successful. And I don't think you need to be able to, I don't think you need to offer 20 different products either. Keep it simple. If you're consistently ordering leads, again, that's what it all comes down to. Consistently ordering leads, focusing on final expense. Well, then if you have someone that tells you that they know somebody who needs a $500,000 policy, whatever, you know what I do? I refer that business to other people. And I begin a referral base because those people that I refer that business to, they may bring me back final expense referrals. Uh, I like to just stay focused on one thing and get good at it. It helps me. I don't know. I just think it can be confusing doing way too many things. And sometimes I feel like if people are doing, I've seen people that do a whole bunch of everything, final expense and Medicare and health insurance and auto insurance and any property casualty, homeowners insurance, all these different things. Like, how is there enough time in the day to do all that stuff? I'd rather be an expert at one thing than just being able to offer a whole bunch of everything. But at the end of the day, I mean, you just got to love what you do, and I do. I mean, I have a passion for what I do, and I think that's what's changed with me from when I first started to now. When I first started, I didn't know much about the business. All I knew was that my dad was successful in the business, and that and he earned a pretty good living, and I wanted to earn that kind of money that he was making. That's all I knew about it. But I got better at this when I became passionate about it. When I saw what happens when somebody dies and they don't have insurance and the whole family's running around trying to collect money. I mean, that's when I became passionate for this because I look at this now as something that I can do to help people that's going to change families' lives. It's going to change families' lives, and it's going to make that family, when that person passes away that I was able to help, it's going to make their family's life a little bit easier because they're not going to have to worry about coming up with $10,000 overnight to cover those expenses. So that's when things really changed for me. When I quit focusing on what I was getting out of it, and I started focusing more on just helping people and seeing the need and seeing what that would do to really change their family's life. Like I said, $10,000 to some people may not be a lot of money, but when they're living on an $800 a month income, they don't have money saved. That $10,000 is going to change that family's life. So that's about all I had for today. Other things, check out my training, adambrsan.com. And like I said, on there, there's like an 8-part training series that can help you uh, get better. It can help you learn our company in, in regards to the underwriting, filling out applications, all that fun stuff. But there's also sales training on there as well. That's where I think I can help you most. It's great to learn a product. It's great to learn underwriting. Whoop-de-doo, but I can help you get better as an agent. I can help you succeed long-term in this business. Um, but at the end of the day, it just goes back to what you want. And if you're willing to go out there and do it. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like I said, work ethic. I'll teach you as much as you want to learn, but you got to go out there and do it. And oh, and you know what? And don't play. I thought I had this on there. Maybe I forgot to put that slide on there. But don't play the blame game. Okay, I need to add that to this. Don't play the blame game. I've had agents out there that that quit or cancel their contract, and they complain that they weren't trained good enough. Are you kidding me? You weren't trained good enough? What else do you want? What else do you want us to do? You got to be the one willing to go out there and do it. They blame training, or they blame that the leads weren't any good. Like, seriously, the leads weren't any good? Then how come so many agents are out there succeeding writing business off of leads? Like these lead vendors, they would not be in business if people were ordering leads and not making any sales off of them. So all I can say is, like, if you want to play the blame game, the best thing you can do is look in the mirror, and that's who you can blame if you don't succeed. And like I said, maybe in the past, that's what I needed to do. I wasn't succeeding back when I first started. I needed to look in the mirror and say, hey, that's why I'm not succeeding. It's because of me. This is a good business, and there's people doing well in this business. So why can't I? Why can't I get better in this business? So, like I said, at the end of the day, just don't play the blame game. Learn that you can do well in this, and but at the end of the day, if you do fail, don't blame leads. Don't blame training. If it didn't work, I'd be doing something else by now, like I said. But check out my YouTube channel too. There's a lot of good videos on there as well. A lot of videos that aren't just company specific. There's a lot of good training techniques, rebuttals, different situations you could run into out in the field. And you know what? If you run into different situations out in the field and you don't know how to handle those situations, even if you don't call me like while you're in the home, call me when you get out of the house. And those are honestly, there's really not many situations you could run into out in the field that I probably already haven't experienced at some point in this business. And if I don't have videos like that on there, let me know, and I'll throw some more content out there, some more videos, and kind of how I would overcome different situations that you could encounter out in the field. So let's see, I might have a couple questions. Someone asked if SNL will let us know when a policy lapsed. Yes, there actually is on our website, there's a late policyholder list where you can see if you have a policy that's running behind. The only time you need to be concerned about the late list would be on any business that's past 30 days due. Once a policy is 45 days late, it's going to lapse. So you want to make sure that you get a hold of those clients and call them, and if anything, set up a 3-way call with the home office to set up a payment to make sure that the policy doesn't lapse. But that's all I had. So thanks again, everybody, for coming on today. Hope you learned a lot. Like I said, I won't be doing this next Friday because I'm going to be down in Nashville. If you want to attend, let me know. Shoot me an email and I'll send you over the information on it. So you can RSVP. I can give you the location, and I think it's going to be I think you'll get a lot of value out of it if you decide to come down or up, whatever direction you're coming from. But if not, I'll be back in a couple weeks, and we can talk more then. So thanks again. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Get out there, hit it hard. Last week of Founders Month is starting, and go get it. Go get them. Let's make some money.